has COVID-19 affected you, your family, and or your community?
Well, first of all, the worst thing was my brother passed with COVID on May 4th, 2020. So that did affect our family. He was in a nursing home. He was taken to the hospital. At that time, you couldn't visit. And the sad part is he died alone, without a family member, and that it affected me quite a bit.
I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. Go ahead. How has COVID-19 affected you, your family, or your community?
It hasn't affected me at all. Thank goodness I didn't get sick. Nobody in my family got sick. They got sick very lightly after they had their shots. But before then, we were not affected at all.
Okay.
My best friend's son got it and went to the very end of the, luckily he was safe from death. He's still alive, but he does need a lung transplant. And my daughter's boyfriend was also terribly sick with COVID, expected to die, and somehow, thanks to God, he's still alive and he's improving every day.
Yes, go ahead. If you want to talk about how COVID-19 has affected you or your family or your community.
Well, the only person affected right now is my stepson, but he is much better because he get the medicine right away. The pills, I think. I haven't seen him, but he sounds okay on the phone. So thanks God that he's gonna be okay.
Good.
And it's the only experience. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
So COVID-19 has affected absolutely every part of my life, from how I do my job to my grocery shopping to how I see my nieces and nephews. I had 2 nephews born during the pandemic, so every aspect has changed, and it's so interesting to think that this is now a new normal. And even at this stage, things are changing every day from every aspect of my life.
Okay. The next question, and I'll pose to all of you, and if you don't wish to answer, you do not have to answer any questions. How many have you been vaccinated for COVID-19? If you just want to raise your hand. Booster shot number 1. Booster shot number 2. Okay. And what would your main reason for being vaccinated?
My job involves working with people in a car, so I had to make sure that I was not going to transmit COVID, and it was a requirement of the company. Unfortunately, the company went out of business because of COVID.
Anyone else want to share their views about vaccine, about getting vaccinated?
This is very interesting because I think vaccinations especially became a very hot button topic surrounding COVID. And my mother, who was very hesitant personally, I reminded her that vaccines are something that have always been a part of my life. She took us for our shots regularly, and we clocked it in our little baby books for school, for college, for international travel. So I sort of asked her at that time, why make a political statement out of something that you've always made sure protected me and my siblings and your family? So to me, it was not even a question. Vaccines have always been a part of my life.
Now, the next question I'll ask, go ahead, yes.
Well, excuse me, if it was available and I was all for it. My granddaughter is a doctor. She works at North Shore Hospital, and she was firmly, she believed very much in, she had to be vaccinated immediately, and she was all for it. She insisted that we all be. I had a friend who felt she was very healthy. She was not going to get the shot, and P.S. she got the virus and she died. So it's available. Thank God we do have the science that eliminated a lot of hardship, and I was not going to let it go.
Okay. And the next question to everyone is, where did you go for information about the vaccine, and what sources did you trust?
Generally just through the TV, radio. That's how I got most of my information, and talking to my doctors.
Okay, and you trusted all of those venues?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay.
Well, I got it at the senior center, and there was no question that I was able to try to get the first available chance that I could get it, to get it.
I got it on my telephone through emails from the state of New Jersey, where to get the vaccine, and they set it up, and I went.
Okay, great. And where did you go for information about the vaccine?
I really don't go no place, but only here at this area and this area. The lunch, with the lunch people talking, and also very help the TV. The television.
Okay.
Give me very good ideas.
Okay.
How to take care in case that I get it.
Okay.
But thank God, not even if I live by myself,
Okay.
I feel okay.
So I'd like to think that the CDC was the only place I went for information, but oftentimes I was so inundated, or I'd hear that the CDC had made an announcement before I can check the website. So my main resource was actually the local health department. The day I had my first known exposure, which absolutely turned into COVID, I came into work and I said, hey, I'm feeling fine, but should I be worried about my staff? And they actually have nurses in our local county office that were able to answer my questions and say, no, go isolate, go get tested, here's where you can go. And from there I said, ooh, what a great resource that I think a lot of people didn't know about. So it was sort of my go-to when me or staff or friends had questions that I couldn't answer.
Great. And did you find it easy to get vaccines in the community here?
Not initially, it was very difficult. I had to travel quite a distance to get the first vaccination. After that, it got a little better.
Okay. Does everyone agree with that? That initially it was difficult to get a vaccine?
Absolutely. My daughter lives in Long Island, New York. She had to go to Harlem on 125th Street in Manhattan to get her shot. My other daughter also lived in Long Island, New York, and had to go to the Javits Center in Manhattan. Wow. And paid a lot of money for parking. But I was very fortunate because I live right here and I could walk right over to the senior center.
Okay. And another question is, how do you think our state and local health departments could improve communications and messages about the vaccine? I'll start with you because you mentioned you had a good experience.
Yeah. I think I tend to be personally a pick up the phone and call people, and I don't think people know that that's a thing you can do. I think they travel first to ask their friends or check online, and government websites are not always updated lickety-split. But just letting people know that there was somebody I could call and ask these questions to. And not a hotline, it was my municipality. It's what my taxes are paying for. I wish that was something a lot more people were able to do.
Okay. Does anybody else want to add anything, how state and local health departments could improve communications and messages? Let me get back here.
I get my vaccination injection in Trenton at the arena.
Okay.
They treat me very good there.
So that was a good experience for you?
Very good experience.
Okay, and it was you trusted?
That was my first 2 injections, my first 2 dose.
Okay, wonderful.
Wonderful. Feel good.
Well, when I think back, I got the information through word of mouth. It was my friend who called me, who called another friend. It was not that easy at the beginning until we got word about the senior center, but otherwise it was all word of mouth. Call this one, call that one, call this one.
Okay, did everyone have an opportunity to talk to their healthcare provider about the vaccines?
Yes.
Yes, I have a no back there.
Yes.
Okay, and did you trust the information that you were provided
Yes.
with? Okay. My next question is, we're almost done. Do you think all communities in New Jersey have been given equal access or information to the vaccine?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't speak for all communities, but I do remember hearing things about, helping people who English isn't their first language, or people that have vaccine hesitancy for various cultural reasons, but I can't speak for those. What I think it was a blessing and a nightmare for me as somebody who's a little younger. In the beginning, I would get these phone calls, we've got 16 doses, do you know anybody? And I'd go, what are the restrictions? So for a while it was, they've got to be 65 or older. We can do somebody who's 55 if their birthday's within the year. And there was a point where I'm getting phone calls that there are, 5 doses here, 4 doses there, that I couldn't actually take because I wasn't quite in the age range. And that was a little scary for fear that things were going to waste because people weren't able to get them, and that there was this whole age group that was sort of chomping at the bit.
Okay. Do you think there were any other barriers or challenges in either you getting the vaccine or people that you know getting the vaccine? One was just age that was mentioned for being sort of that you needed to be of a certain age, right? Any other barriers? Transportation or?
No barriers.
No barriers. Okay, would anybody like to share anything else about the vaccines?
I will say I was thrilled when they were allowing folks that were educators and in schools, if they wanted it, regardless of age, to go and sort of have first round in our healthcare providers. And I thought that was much like making sure our seniors are protected and our community educators. That was a really nice thing to see, because I knew it would be available for me next, but the people who really had to be where they had to be could get it.
Okay, great, thank you. Does anybody want to add anything? It feels good to be out again, right? Coming to lunches.
I hope that the pandemic goes out as soon as possible.
Yes, we
So
all
everybody
agree.
Walk peacefully. No, not to contaminate nobody. I don't like to contaminate nobody. So I hope everything is A1.